Hello, and welcome to Stories from India, a podcast where we talk about myths, legends, and folk tales from India. I'm your host, Narada Muni, and I'm a mythological character myself. I have the gift of eternal life and knowledge of the past, the present, and the future. By profession, I'm a traveling musician and a storyteller. So, the way I'm doing my job is by podcast. In this episode, we'll talk about your favorite character, me. So, let's dive right in. Our story has its genesis in a fireside chat I had at Vishnu's home. Vishnu, in case you don't know, is the preserver of the universe, along with Shiva the destroyer and Brahma the creator, who also happens to be my dad. Between the three of them, they've done a pretty good job of creating, maintaining, and destroying the universe several times over. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's no different from people doing spring cleaning in their homes. The other thing you need to know is that I've always been a huge fan of Vishnu's. I used to chant one of his nicknames, Narayan, pretty much every time I opened my mouth. I know what you're probably wondering. Why have I never said Narayan, even once, in the close to 70 episodes we have done on this show? Listen on, and you'll know why I stopped. So one day, I was going around all over the universe, talking to a goddess here, a god there, just doing my job. When I got to Vishnu's home, I had the usual warm welcome, tasty food, bottomless drinks, even if some of that was really Maya or illusion. For a much more impactful example of Maya, see episode 0, Rockstar. So anyway, I was talking to Vishnu about how well known he was all over the world. I added that his biggest devotee probably deserved most of the credit for it. I don't see how, replied Vishnu. Seriously? How can you not see it? I sing your praises everywhere I go. Every time I am speaking to anyone else, I end every sentence with your name. You can't buy that kind of publicity. Narayan, Narayan. Oh, we are talking about you now? Said Vishnu. I thought we were talking about my biggest devotee. I should have been upset by that. But somehow, it's impossible to be mad at Vishnu. He's just that awesome. Alright, let's play this game, I said. Tell me, Narayan, who is your actual biggest devotee? Vishnu quickly pulled up a holographic projection of a person in a little village somewhere on earth. It was a cobbler. And I don't mean the yummy dessert. I mean cobbler as in a person who mends shoes. Now I pulled up this cobbler's file out of my mind palace. You already know, if you've been listening to this podcast, that I have knowledge of everything in the universe. I keep all that stored in my mind palace. I looked over the file in my mind. Not much on this guy. His name is Bhakt Mochi. He is 29 years old, studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya all the way through high school. Clean record throughout. There was one incident where the teacher blamed him for chewing gum during class. But I can see clearly the teacher was mistaken. After school, Bhakt went to the IISM, Indian Institute of Shoe Mending. Since then, he's married and has 2 kids, does a 9 to 5 job, works alternate Saturdays. His record looks completely clean, not so much as a speeding ticket. He is a model citizen, but frankly, he's boring. And what has he ever done for you, Vishnu? He's mentioned your name like once during the whole day. I probably chant your name 1,000 times. Seriously, Narayan, this is your biggest devotee? Yeah, said Vishnu, and stayed silent. But you have to explain why. I just don't get it. All those years I spent building up your fan base, don't they mean anything? He completely ignored my question. I want you to do something for me, Narad, he said. Here's a glass of water. Wait a minute. Is this the same glass of water I brought you from the fridge back in our pilot, episode 0? Nope. That glass of water was not absolutely full. It was quite full, but not to the very top. This one, on the other hand, is completely full. What I want you to do, Narad, is to take this glass and go around the world. Once, just once. But you can't spill a single drop. I've circled the world many times, so I'm not worried about the travel, but the glass is full to the brim. Can't I use a lid or something? Nope, said Vishnu, leaving me no wiggle room here. Okay, fine. Narayan, Narayan, I said. It's hard, but not impossible. I'll still do it without a lid. I just don't get the point of this, though, I grumbled, as I started to put on my shoes and mask and gloves. Wait a minute, I stopped and said. Am I going along the equator? Or the Tropic of Cancer? And I know I shouldn't just teleport all the way, but can I teleport across oceans at least? It's not possible to swim across the ocean. I mean, I could do it by myself, but then all that seawater is going to mix with this water in the glass. And you aren't even letting me use a lid. Fine, said Vishnu. Teleport across water bodies. Walk across land. And between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer, I don't really care. Do whichever's easier. That was a good deal for me. The equator is about 40,000 kilometers, but only 8,500 of that is on land. There are only 11 countries that the equator passes through. And the climate would stay constant throughout. On my route were safari opportunities in Kenya, the Amazon rainforest, the wonderful island resorts in Indonesia, and the national parks of Congo. This could have almost been a perfect holiday, except for the glass of water that I could absolutely not spill a single drop of. I started off from Indonesia, quickly covered the South American and African portions of the equator, and was back with Vishnu in no time. All the while, I hadn't taken my eyes off of the glass. I'd been very, very careful, and I'd made sure I didn't trip on any rocks. I shielded the glass from the wind. I had done it. Not one drop had been spilled. My one regret had been that I didn't stop and take in all the sights and sounds of the wonderful places I'd been in. I think my dad really outdid himself when he created the Amazon. But even though I traveled through it, I had not experienced it in its full. But I could always go back. I'm back, I told Vishnu, and I had a big smile on my face. Naturally, I was very proud of how I'd executed this. Flawless, even if I say so myself. You did it, indeed. Well done, said Vishnu. Now, my dear self-proclaimed number one fan of mine, please tell me, how many times did you chant my name? I was stumped into silence. I see, said Vishnu. How many times did you think of me? I started to say, but I couldn't finish. He was right, of course. I hadn't even thought of Vishnu once. I was so focused on not spilling a single drop. Vishnu continued. Well, then there's your answer. You chant my name thousands of times more than Bhakt Mochi, but that's no indicator of devotion. He's doing the task I assigned him, and during the time, he managed to say Narayan once or twice. But you didn't even think of me when I asked you to do something. Vishnu had a point. I kind of felt a bit sheepish at this point. But it's all water under the bridge now. Simply saying the word Narayan doesn't mean much, as Vishnu demonstrated. So I've stopped forcing it into every conversation now. But nothing has changed inside me. I can feel my faith in Vishnu. And that is what matters. That's all for now. A couple of notes. We've seen a similar setup with me asking Vishnu something, and where he answered with a demonstration. That was in our pilot, episode 0, Rockstar, where he demonstrated Maya, or the power of illusion. The name of the cobbler, Bhakt Mochi, is not his real name. I've changed it here. Bhakt means devotee in Hindi, and Mochi is the word for cobbler. That's all for this week. In the next episode, we'll do a folktale from South India. It's about a tiger who loves human cooking, more than cooking humans. And he can magically transform into a human shape and talk and behave like a normal person. Makes you wonder if he's really a human in a tiger body rather than a tiger in a human body. If you have comments or suggestions, please leave a comment or a review on the site sfipodcast.com or tweet at sfipodcast. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get notified automatically of new episodes. Thanks to all of you listeners for your continued support and your feedback. The music is from purpleplanet.com. That's purple-planet.com. I'll see you next time.